Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 380, and I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. It's Monday, February the 5th, 2018. Yesterday was the Super Bowl.
It was.
That's a football thing.
It was. And Philadelphia won.
My boss was very happy. She is a Philadelphia girl.
Did she go flip cars?
She did not. No. I think
Did you see that there were riots in Philly?
No, it does not surprise me even a little bit. But no.
My brother sent me videos of like people setting off fireworks at his house at and he's like very suburbs of Philly at like 1 a.m. So I can't imagine and like screaming, like spelling out the Eagles over and over and over again. So I can't imagine what, like, my sister lives less than half a mile from the stadium.
That's true.
The Eagles stadium, and they had like a huge watch party going on at the stadium, so I can't imagine.
Yeah, Gwen, our helper monkey, lives about 45 minutes south of Philly.
She's like Lancaster, right?
And she said that, there were fireworks and stuff going off there. So, for people who live in other countries where folks don't go nuts over sport, well, I guess that's not true. Like, every country has its own thing.
But football means different things in different countries.
That's true. But, I guess, I know in the UK you have to have loyalty to one particular rugby team or another. I know Manchester's one of them. That's all I know about rugby.
Rugby or soccer?
Rugby.
Okay, because Manchester United's a soccer
team. Okay. Well, see, that shows you what I know. I know that the UK is big on rugby. I know that a lot of countries are big on soccer, especially Spain, from what I understand. But,
also known as football.
Yeah, well, yes. What the Americans call soccer.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cricket's big.
That's true.
In, like, Australia and the UK.
But if I try to start talking sports, it's just going to end terribly. So
everything I know about sports in other countries, I learned from Midsummer Murders
or a book I read.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, anyhow, this is actually a knitting podcast, not a sports one.
Every once in a while.
And we usually start with what we're working on. Would you like to go?
I can go. I am working on the man hat. It is out of another Crafty Girls bulky weight, which I like so much I just ordered 2 new skeins because it's perfect for hats. I've knit 2 hats out of this yarn before. I knit a hat for Kobe a couple years ago.
We still have it.
One of the tea.
Yeah, Earl Grey or something.
Yeah.
It's like a waffle weave and
one of the Clear Divine patterns from her tea collection. Oops, sorry guys, I just kicked that. This is a super bright blue. I think this is going to go to my uncle.
Yeah, it's brighter than it looks. The lights are
washing out a little bit. It's a very, like, aqua. Yeah, I was thinking for Michael, because it's almost Dolphins colors, but then I was like, he's not going to wear that. That's too bright. So I think it's going to go to my uncle, who's a Buffalo Bills fan, and blue is one of the Bills colors as well. So
it's like aquamarine?
Yeah, could be. Anyway, it's the man hat. It's basically a broken rib pattern. Up to 7 inches, and then you decrease and such. So it is going to go to him. And then I also knit another hat. Oh, the Insta hat by Lee Meredith. I've also knit out of her yarn. So I like her bulky a lot. So that is living in a Fat Squirrel small bag. And so that is being knit on size 7s. Because the pattern calls for 8s, and I typically go down a needle size. And it's more like a recipe than a pattern. Like, it tells you how you can change it and modify it for, like, larger weight or smaller weight. So, good pattern overall so far. I'll let you know when I get to the decreases. And then, this might take a bazillion hands. In my Bags by Awesome Granny bag, I have
part of a baby sweater.
I do. So this is a test knit for Laura Nelkin, and she does a really interesting construction. It is the Novus construction, and she does adult sweaters, and this is her first baby sweater, so I'm testing the newborn size.
Do you see her flicking stuff off into the...
That's what I do. So it starts with the sleeve. So this is the sleeve. And then you knit down. And then you use a crochet hook to provisionally cast on. I used a crochet hook. Nice. And I'm going to have to do another side. So I'm going to have to do 2 more crochet hooks.
I told her I'm writing up her Sainthood application right now.
As it should be. And then, so... sleeve, provisional cast-ons, knit a little bit into the back, and then on the front side you do like this.
It's like a crossover top?
Yeah. So it will go down like that, and then there's another half. So I'm going to start the second half, which is just like this, knit the opposite direction. And then some kind of magic happens. I haven't gotten that far yet.
So does the pattern explain why she designed it in this particular way? Like, does it give a specific effect, or?
Well, it's a sideways knit sweater, so if you're using yarn that goes directionality, like you can pull it different directions, which would be pretty cool. I'm using Quince & Company Chickadee because I like to make baby stuff out of non-machine washable wool in the lupine colorway, and I'm knitting it on size 3 needles actually. And this has row gauge. So I tried swatching with 2.5s and it was too small. So this does row gauge versus the other gauge. So row gauge is more important to get accurate versus a cross gauge. Stitch gauge. So yeah, look at how small that baby's arm is.
Babies' arms are small.
Babies are so tiny, especially newborn babies.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be seaming and more crochet. And there's stitches on holders of various types. So there's still 2 provisional cast on, and then 3 separate stitches on holders for like different areas. So we'll see how that goes.
It's cool that you're trying a new construction.
Yeah, well, this is my second sideways sweater of the year. So that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, the baby snug.
Yeah, which I'm going to show in a little bit. And then the final thing. So let me tell you a story. This is a very knitting attack story.
Okay.
So you already know this story. So I was working on my Vesper yarn socks and the Joyful Noise, and they were being knit from the top down. And
your octopus upside down.
Thank you for fixing it.
You're like, please stop touching me.
I'm sure the other one is as well, probably.
Nope, it's right side up.
So I left it outside the bag, and Humberto, who has teeth of steel, chewed through the steel cable, and I had a moment of sheer panic because they were my interchangeable
the Chai-Gu
minis, which are really hard to find cables for. But the Loopy U has extra cables, and then we went to Oxford, and a person there was selling them. So I got extra needle tips and extra cables. So I get past the heel turn, and I was doing the double gusset, and I was like, this looks kind of... so after my needles were broken, I switched over to Addy flips, whatever the new, like, short needles are.
Ones?
Yeah, the short, like, they have a little cable flip.
They're like double points, but they have a little cable.
I have a stitch on hold. I'm using them as holders right now. Hold on.
So they bend and flex.
They this is one. So it's 2 small needle tips and then a cord in the middle.
So bend it
and
up,
you get 3 of them. Yeah. And I was thinking this would be a perfect stitch holder if you use these as stitch holders. If you get like Carrie Jelby's little like stitch stoppers, that would be perfect. So apparently when I knit on these, my gauge goes way down because I then tried on my sock because I thought it looked small, and it's only 7.5 inches across, and I need like 9 inches across, so it would not go over my big giant foot. And I discovered this after I had finished the gusset. The double gusset. So I'm gonna rip that all the way back and out and put that away.
She forgot to bring it, so she can't.
Yeah, I forgot to bring it, so I can't show you. Because it is a tale of woe and sadness. So I'm gonna rip that all the way out, and it's not Vesper's fault. It's totally, and it's not the needle's fault. It's Humberto's fault for being a jerk and eating steel cords with his teeth. I mean, at least it's the cord, though, and not the yarn, because if it was the yarn, we'd be going to, like, the emergency vet, probably. Because yarn's really bad for cats. So, whatever. And then and that was, like, all my field trip knitting, too.
Yeah.
It was very sad. Like, I got so much knitting done on that. So I cast on a new pair of socks, because it's a new month. So I was a bust for January
Me
for
too.
the self-striping knit along. But I cast on for the lollipop. So the other day I cast on a toe. I'm very far in this as well.
These are very man colors.
Yeah, it's a colorway called Cabin Fever. So I like to call them neutral colors. And one of the Harry Potter prompts for this month is greens and browns.
Oh, that fits.
So I think I got it. So this is a lollipop yarn in Cabin Fever on her regular sock base. And I'm knitting it on Addie sock rockets. Size zeros. And I'm just gonna go right along with that. And that's living in a fat squirrel bag too. My Firefly fat squirrel bag. Because I'm dreaming of summer. Why is it when it's summer I dream of winter, but when it's winter I dream of summer? Like, why can't I be happy medium?
Everyone
like somewhere
is like that.
You
are not special.
And it's like 55 degrees out today. Like, we really haven't had a winter besides the...
Dude, it was, I don't know if it was 55 here, but in Tunica it was like 30. It was cold.
This morning, yeah, it was cold this morning. It's not so much now. Anyway, it was freezing this morning, and Pearl was like, hey, Mom, I like going to the back corner of the yard. Come out and get me.
This is where I live now.
And I was like, look, Pearl, I've got treats for you. And she was like, that's nice. I'm going to lay down. And then she just laid down. And
she's got a big fur coat. She's
so
fine.
Pyrenees are known for being stubborn. Things that you should investigate before you just randomly adopt a dog. And I knew, like, they're night owls, but she is, like, she'll look at me and then turn her butt into my, like, I don't see you. She's basically a toddler. So, but I have to let her out before I go to work. Like, she's got to go outside because then I'm gone for 9 hours. But we're playing this new game where we go to the farthest area away from me, and then we refuse to come when we're called. So then I have to walk out in my dress clothes, which if it's a nice day, like today the ground was frozen, not a big deal. When it was like pouring down rain and mud up to my knees and she had treed a possum, this was more of a big deal. That was a day.
In a dire circumstance, Laura can just let the cat out.
Yeah, I do. So when she really won't come and I'm like...
So Laura's backyard is 6-foot fence.
Yeah. That's true.
So, I mean, Umberto could probably get out, but it would take...
He could probably squeeze.
It
like,
would
there's
take a
some
little
gaps.
while.
Yeah. So, Pearl hates it when Humberto... Like, she knows he's not supposed to be outside. So she goes into, like, sheep-herding dog mode. So if I'm like, oh, no, Humberto got out, and I pick him up and just throw him out the door, and she'll come running to get him and herd him back into the house, and then all my animals are back in the house. I'm a terrible pet mom. But it really works.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
And some days when it's pouring, I'm not going outside to chase her down. Now I'm just letting, like, this morning I let her out right before I left. I'm trying to not do that. I'm trying to, like, oh, it's last trip out. You're on a leash. We're not running around all over.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have stuff that I have to do, like brush my teeth before I can leave or heat up the car. So y'all don't care about my life because it's chaotic and insane in every single way. That's it for me. I have those 3 things on the needles, and joyful noise socks are getting ripped out, unfortunately. It is what it is.
Happens that way sometimes.
And it was like the most knitting attack to steal a Knitmore girls of knitting attacks ever.
So I have a couple things I'm working on.
You cast on some new stuff.
I did. I'm going to show the old
Biggies!
stuff first. So,
I like the one with the ball.
yeah, this is a Bags by Awesome Granny bag. And it's got pigs frolicking in the mud.
And we have a coupon code for y'all. I'm going to look at that up while Leslie's talking.
So I've been talking about knitting this Cypress. It's a vest by Jared Flood.
Yeah.
And I've had the back done for a couple of weeks.
That's awesome.
And this is out of Queensland Kathmandu Aran, which is like a wool silk. and I'm working on the front now, so it doesn't look like anything except a textured bit of knitting.
Oh, it's on my Etsy.
I've got a ways to go before the armpit, which is pretty much, it's a static pattern until then. I just knit. It looks like I've got about 6 or 7 inches until I get to the armpit. And I will be modifying the neckline a little bit, and because the way that it's written, the neckline, the V-neck and the armpit start at the same point, which is fine for most smaller size chests. But for someone as well endowed as I am, it ends up looking kind of gaping. So I'm going to give it a couple of inches of underarm before I start the V-neck. So that is on size 9s, US, 5.5 millimeters. And I've just been sort of working on that on and off as I've had time, because I started a new project. What are we doing?
I'm adding the code for...
okay. So, I talked about it before, but in the event that you haven't watched every single episode of ours back to back, because you have a life, I have sort of analysis paralysis when it comes to picking something to knit. I usually agonize over it for a while before I can decide. But I was looking through my queue, because I really am trying this year to knit from my queue and my library as much as possible. So as I was going through my queue trying to see what struck my fancy, because I didn't have any mojo to knit on the Cypress, I came across Find Your Fade. That's the big one, right?
Yep.
Not Free Your Fade, that's the littler one. So Find Your Fade is this giant sort of asymmetrical triangle shawl, and the intent is to take a bunch of your different skeins of yarn and blend them into this, like, anywhere from 3 to 7 color shawl.
Yeah. Oh, are you doing 7 colors?
I am.
Wow. I thought you were doing 6.
I was, but then I decided I want this to be a giant shawl, so I'm going to do 7.
I think it'll be giant without.
Well, maybe for a normal person. I'm a bigger person. I require a
you
gianter.
also knit tight.
I don't know what you just did.
I don't know what I just did either. Make it stop. I didn't see what I needed to do, Leslie. Leslie's my tech person.
I don't know what she's doing, so.
Where did the...
Click insert. Link.
That's what I just did.
I know, but then you clicked somewhere in the body of the...
Oh.
The show... We do our show notes with Google Docs.
We do. Because it makes
easier.
more sense. But when you forget something and have to add it last minute and you hate Leslie's keyboard, it makes it super complicated.
Whatever.
Anyway, in the show notes, what I just inserted was Bags by Awesome Granny. Gave us a 15% off coupon. So you can get bags.
For like 6 months.
Yeah, so for the next 6 months. So it's so it'll be until August. So after Stash Dash, you can get one of her bags for 15% off. So I put the code in there, and there is her card. I also linked it. That's what I was struggling to do because it was being weird. So her bags, and then we have a giveaway of a bag of someone's choice, and we're going to do that in 3 weeks because we have some giveaways lined up for y'all for the next couple weeks. But I love how big her bags are, and I like her fabric choices. Mm-hmm. The pigs were perfect for Leslie.
She has a lot of fun.
And she's got a podcast too.
Oh,
she
really?
does. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. But that is not because I'm sure it's a good podcast. I haven't even watched like Amy Beth in forever. So it's not
or Amy
preference.
Florence.
Or Amy Florence. So I started a Find Your Fade, which apparently looks like a giant thong.
For a while.
Until you get to the bigger part. So I'm starting my 3rd color. So my first color is this.
Was it the Fiber Nymph?
This is the Fiber Nymph in Smooth Sailing Sunny Skies. It was an SSK colorway a couple years ago. And then this is Stranded Dye Works in the Ice Skating Party. Yes.
That's a good one.
And then I'm starting Tempting You in the Thunder Snow
Ooh,
colorway.
also a good one.
And after that, it is Stranded Dye Works in the Fright Night, followed by Hey Lady Hey in the Betty, followed by a prized special scheme Cakewalk yarns in the Hero
Miss
Squad.
Cakewalk.
She hasn't died for several years.
Like 8 years.
Yeah. This is something from a long time ago, and I loved her dying, but life got in the way. She couldn't do it anymore. So this is one of my very last Cakewalk skeins.
I think I have 2 left.
And the last color will be this old rusted chair in the Lotto Fever. So I have all my colors picked out.
And the order that they go in.
In the order. And I just have to actually knit it. The colors seem like they're going quick right now. I know that will change as the count gets larger. But I'm enjoying it. It's just garter and a very, very simple lace stitch. I did change a couple of things. It calls for you to do yarn overs at the ends for increases, like 1 stitch in, and I didn't like the way that looked, so I do knit front and backs.
Is it yarn overs and drops or just yarn overs?
I believe it's just yarn overs.
Because some people have you do like yarn overs and then drop them to create a loose edge.
Yeah, no, it's yarn overs.
Okay.
They stay. And I didn't like the way that looked, so I just did knit front and back. That's just a personal preference on appearance, not a dig on the pattern. And I also changed the center decrease. It was a slip, knit, and then pass the 2 slip stitches over.
Like that one.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It was the slip, knit 2 together, pass a slip stitch over. So it didn't create that nice line, so I switched it to a center double decrease, which is slip as if to knit, slip as if to knit, and then knit one and pass those slip stitches over.
Yeah.
So it creates a nice, straight, even line.
It does. That's one of my favorites.
So,
when it comes to center decreases.
Yeah, it gives it a nice, clean look. So, and I've just started my 3rd color. I've only 1 row in to my 3rd color. So, I'm enjoying it. It's kind of what I want to knit right now. I'm on call this week, so I need something that I don't have to really pay attention to, and this fits the bill. So
perfect.
Yeah. So that's what I've got. I do not have anything that I have finished.
Oh, I have some finished.
So
I finished Snug, which just really needed seamed and a crochet button loop, and I crocheted more. Once was not enough. So this is Snug. And I seamed the hood. I seamed that back line. That's seamed by me. It's pretty freaking
so
perfect.
Fancy.
Like, it's really hard to tell where it's seamed. Did a good freaking job when I don't rush myself or get aggravated. Also, I use clips to match up and pin like every 4 rows so I could make sure that I was on. So, and I only did 1 button because really do babies need buttons.
I like it. I think 1 button's plenty.
Yep. I think it's practically perfect in every way. So that's going in the baby chest. So I'm old. This is the theme of this week. And a child that I taught in middle school now works at my school as a teacher. And she is about to have her first child. Again, I'm old. Wait till that child's in middle school. I'll feel really old. So, I think this might go to her. But the baby's due in March. This is like a 6-month size. So, I don't think it'll be cold enough.
I don't think it'll ever be cold enough here for that.
Yeah, I know. And this was out of Knit Picks.
Big O.
Big O. 3 skeins, so like 330 yards. And I used just about every little bit. I did make the sleeves a little bit longer so I could cuff them and that they would last a little bit longer. I don't know where it'll go. It'll go somewhere.
It'll go in the box until she
I'll go
decides.
in the box till I find someone who needs it. So that is the first thing that I finished. And then I finished something for me. So when we were in Portland, we got this really, really pretty wool folk yarn. It's the Far. It's really, really soft. Like, if you were just touching it, you would think it would be cashmere.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, really nice. And I knew I wanted to make something for me out of it. So I had 2 skeins in contrasting colors. And I did the button tab hat. It's a Hohi Locatelli pattern. Yeah. You see? Button tab. I did it exactly as written. If I was to do it again, because I had enough yarn, I would add a couple extra rows. I did the medium size to add a little bit of extra slouch. But I would... And I blocked it on a plate on top of... one of my friends for Christmas gave me, like, this tin of cookies. It's real narrow. So I did a plate, and then on top of that, so that it would just hang down. And gravity would give it a little bit more locking, too. So
Cool.
It's got a cool little decrease like bubble thing at the top. So it decreases on 4 points. It's got a little bubble. And I did this as written as well, where I picked up stitches on the inside and knit all the way around. And this is just a decorative button. It's just sewn down. I probably could go with a smaller button. I don't know. I kind of like the size of that one.
When else are you going to use a button that big?
Yeah. I probably should have moved it up a little bit, but I think it's fine. I think I'm over-analyzing it. So this is my new winter hat. Yay! It's cute and it's warm. Excuse me. I love knitting with this yarn. I want to buy and roll in.
This is the Woolfolk Far.
Yes, all this yarn. It's like a chain construction of merino wool. You knit a brioche hat out of it, I believe, last year. So Leslie used hers right away.
No, I still have some.
Do you?
But
I only got 2 skeins and I'm regretting it now.
I was slightly greedier than you were.
Well,
but
I am regretting it, but that's okay. So those are my 2 finished objects. I do have 2 things of spinning. So I've been spinning on a patchwork kit. Patchwork kits are sold by Hello Yarn, and they are a pound of fiber, and it's all different colors, and it's all different fiber contents, and you don't know what's what, but there was definitely some rambouillet in here because I could feel the bounce. That like yellow and green towards the end, that was rambouillet. So I'm spinning 16 ounces of this. I have a pound, and I'm going to knit a blanket out of it. This is for my Harry Potter House Cup owl. But I really need 1,200 yards to do the blanket, and I'm not getting the yardage that I need. It's a little bit thicker than what I need, which is not, it's a blanket, so it doesn't really matter. But this was just under 6 ounces. It was 5.8, and I got 420 yards of a chain ply. So I mean, it was 1,200 and some singles yards, but that's not what I need. I need closer to 500 yards. So I'm a little bit disappointed in that, but I still have 4.6 ounces to spin, so maybe I can get like 400 yards out of that. Well, it'd be like 384 yards is what I need. So hopefully I can kind of pop that out and get my 1,200 yards. If not, then I'm going to have to continue spinning. I have another patchwork kit, and I can spin a little bit of that as well. So
isn't the other one totally different colors though?
It is, but I might be able to piecemeal something out. And I have like 3 little bits and bobs from my first patchwork kit still to spin. Or my second. I think this is my 3rd patchwork kit.
I have no idea.
It's either my 3rd or my 2nd. Anyway. I keep spinning them, so are you okay?
Yeah, just my knuckles hurt.
So that is done and plied, and then I also spun some batlings from Joanna Spring. She had sent us some gratitude batlings. Roll eggs. Oh my goodness. I know what those are. And I spun them on the Shocked Reeves long draw, and then this has not gotten a bath yet. Plied them with some fleece that I had spun prior that I was carding like the belly wool. which has a lot more elasticity to it, but when you're spinning for a sweater is probably the last thing that you need because it's much different than the rest of it.
It's not consistent with the rest of the fleece.
Yeah, so I was just playing and spinning belly wool to spin it, so I decided to ply this with it. So I have a 3-ply, and it is 100 yards exactly of a 3-ply. I think it'll make like a good hat or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very mermaid colors. So it just needs a wash to set the twist, and that will be done. And Joanna Spring had sent some tags with this club, so I'm using one of those tags for this. So yeah, that is what I have spinning and finished object wise. Did you have some spinning to show?
I do.
Leslie was playing on one of my wheels and she hated it. It was hilarious.
It wasn't that I hated it, it was just so different from the wheels I have. So I went to Laura's and I really like the idea of the patchwork kit, but I don't have one and they're impossible.
I offered her my last one.
Yeah. You want to take my very last of these?
But you can have it. Like, it's fine. It's not going to upset me. I'll just stalk and try to get another one. Well, they are hard to get.
Yes, because you have to get them
really quick.
Adrian updates, which is sporadic and.
Well, she announces it, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
but you're not on social media,
I'm not on social media. Yeah. So anyhow, I got these. I found on Etsy this shop called Curly Fur with 2 R's.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. You know, Into the World does like patchwork kits too.
I've got a green one somewhere. Okay. They're odds and ends, I think is what they call them. Yeah. That's a good idea too. So this shop is called Curly Fur with 2 R's, and she sells these 2.5 ounce little bags of, she calls them art bits, but they're you can use them for needle felting or to spin them, and they're just little like strips of a bat that have been rolled into a little nest.
Yeah. And
they're all different colors. And so I got 2 of those and I spun one, and the way that I spun this was marl. Is that what they call it when you hold several different colors together and spin it together? So I spun this on the Maja Craft Rose. Mm-hmm. So I was spinning this short forward draw, and it's just all sorts of different colors. It looks kind of bland right now on the top because it's like mostly green and purple, but there are bright colors underneath. So I spun 2.5 ounces, the one bag, on Saturday.
And then she's going to come over.
Yeah,
probably
I'll come over
Wednesday.
again this weekend or this week. Oh, yeah, because it's at night.
It is.
And spin the other half of this so that I can ply it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also been working on, I showed a week or 2 ago the braid that Buffy refluffed for me. And so I've been realigning that by making them into Rolex. And so I've been spinning those, and
you have lots of spinning this. You have more spinning than I have.
These are the gratitude Rolex. So I've had these done for a couple of weeks. This is what Joanne sent, and I've been spinning the Rolex supported.
That you're making.
Yes, supported long draw. And I'm actually getting them pretty thin, so I'm
Your
really happy.
Your long draw is much better than my long
draw.
Well,
it's the silk. So silk allows you to go much thinner, I feel like, than wool does.
But consistency-wise, yours is much...
Yeah, so this is it's first edition fibers. I do not remember what the colorway name is because it was sent to me by Amanda.
And they don't ship outside of Australia, correct?
They do not, at this time anyway. So it's pretty thin. I'm happy with it. I just took this bobbin off of the wheel because I really only needed enough to ply together with this.
Oh, I didn't realize that's what you were doing.
Yeah. So I'm just going to apply these together so that I can get as much yardage out of this as I can. And I'll still have some left over, it looks like. So
yeah, then you can...
And I haven't spun all the Rolex. I've still got... I probably spun maybe half of them.
That would be pretty to apply with just a gray.
Yeah.
I have some gray merino you can have.
So, yeah, I'm going to apply these together at some point this week, assuming my on-call isn't completely terrible. And then for the curly fur thing, I hope I'll have this finished next week too. It'll be my first spinning of the year.
Oh, yeah, awesome.
So I just don't spin as much as Laura. But yeah, the Maja Croft is very different in like figuring out tension and whirls and all that.
No, I would say that's very true.
Than the other wheels, which I generally, most of my wheels are shocked wheels.
You have the infinite twist wheel. What other wheels do you have?
I have the e-spinner from Hanson
and the pocket wheel.
Pocket wheel, which is its own brand.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to spin more frequently. Although the chair that I spun in at your house, I think is the perfect height because I didn't have any like creaky knees after, and I do with my sofa and the chair that I bought specifically to spin in.
Do you want me to? You can have that chair.
No, I'll get one the next time. I need to go to IKEA anyway because I got to get a dresser. So once I get off call, that's the plan.
Well, that's what we were going to do this weekend. That's right.
Yeah.
That chair's from Wayfair, by the way.
Oh, is it? Anyhow.
Well, we could get you one.
That's what I've been spinning. Oh, reading. Oh, let me move this thing down.
Oh, yeah.
So we haven't talked really about reading or audiobooks for a couple of weeks because
we took last week off.
We did
because we had already we had done a special episode for Patreon, which was
it ended up being our regular episode.
My crazy whip shaming episode.
People loved it. Not that it was that it was about shame. It was just people loved that it was a surprise to you a lot of the times what was in the bag and how many of them were single socks.
That's true.
And how willing you were to just have them ripped out and it didn't bother you.
No, that doesn't bother me.
So, we got a lot of feedback on that.
Oh, good.
People, like to see that. So,
excellent. It was fun. We need to do that like every 2 years. If we do it every year, it's just going to be the same stuff.
Yeah.
Although after ripping out, I think I had 12 or 13 things left to work on.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start trying to bust through a couple of those.
Yeah, I think Laura said that if she did one a month, they'd be gone.
Yeah.
So,
well, stuff like the Even Star is not like a month long.
Right. It's not as easily done.
We'll see.
But then you've also got stuff like the baby booty.
Oh, yeah.
So it evens out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So as far as reading this, the past couple of weeks, I've been reading the War Prize series by Elizabeth Vaughn. She's got lots of series, and they're pay-for books. They're like $7, I think, on Kindle. And I finished the first one, which I think was War Prize, and then it was War Sworn, and then Warlord, and it was supposed to end at 3.
It just kept going.
Yeah, but this was like 10 years ago.
Oh.
And so I think that there's 5. And I like them, so I'll probably buy it. But I had to take a break from them because it's very, I don't know, to some degree
intense?
Political, but yeah,
okay.
It is intense. Like, this woman is having to learn this whole new culture, and it's a very conquering type of people, so there's that to deal with, but it's good. And then I'm listening to Yes Please, which is the audiobook written and read by Amy Poehler, who I just adore to pieces.
From Parks and Rec, right?
Parks and Rec and Saturday Night Live. And she and Tina Fey have done several movies together.
Yes.
They collaborate often. And I love seeing them together because they just really spin off each other really well. But I decided the other day, I've been on call for 3 or 4 days, and I got to the point where my sleep was so broken up, I just wanted to sit and relax to a book that wasn't like, I didn't really have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
So I wanted to listen to something I'd listened to before. So I decided to go back and listen to the Tiffany Aching Discworld books. So it's like Discworld for children. That's the series.
YA.
That's what it's called. And
it's not called Discworld for children.
It is.
Is it?
If you look on Audible, it's Discworld for children.
Interesting. Because they're tagged as YA everywhere.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So
I wonder if that's an Audible tag
for kids. Sorry,
okay.
Wrong word, but yeah, Discworld for kids.
Huh.
But so the first one is called The Amazing Maurice and His Educated Rodents.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's
It must not be available in the U.S.
I have it.
Oh.
I own it. It's Pied Piper.
Okay. Well, I don't have that one, but it starts with We Free Men. I listened to that one already. I love the TheKnitGirlls. They are probably my favorite group of characters of all time. And so now I'm on A Hatful of Sky, and then after that, I think it's She Shall Wear Midnight?
No.
Wintersmith.
Wintersmith.
Then I Shall Wear Midnight.
One.
Yeah. So I love these books.
I like the first one, I think, is my favorite.
And they have cameos by some of the well-known characters in Discworld, like Granny Weatherwax.
Yeah.
So it's something to check out if you are interested in the Discworld
series.
series.
And they're very feminist in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, they're very. There's a lot of satire that ties back to our world, like if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
A very smart satire if you're looking for it, but that it doesn't affect a kid's enjoyment of it. So
I would agree.
So that's what I've been listening to and reading. What about you?
I have been re-listening to, well, I've read it like a bazillion times, but I'm listening to it for the first time, and I'm not completely sold on the voices because it's done by a cast.
Oh.
And that is Wild Magic by Tamora Pierce. I'm re-listening to that series. I got it from the library for free. Because she's got a new series. It's been a while since she's published anything, like 2 or 3 years. And it's a new series. And her books are like my favorite. And it's a character from the Wild Magic series, which is my favorite of hers, who is kind of like the mentor. And it's like how he came, like his coming into that role. So it's this back history. I think it's called Battle Mage. I pre-ordered it. It will be here tomorrow. Oh. I bought it in hardcover because I tend to buy. It's a kid's book. Kids books. It's a kid's fantasy. And Tamora Pierce, if you have a kid who's into fantasy, writes some amazing, great feminist fantasy, especially. So this is like her 10th series, but I'm super excited because she's one of my favorites of all time. So I bought it in hardcover so then I could donate it to my library if I wanted to. My library helper from last year, who was amazing. I know they don't have a lot of money for books, and she had read the whole series, and I have 2 of her younger siblings now, so I might send it home with one of them so that she can read it. Anyway, because Lydia will love it. So that's what might happen with that. Because I love my Kindle editions, don't get me wrong, but I can loan hardcover books to people, which is really, really nice. And then, so I'm listening to that, and I'm reading a book called The Ghosts of Green Glass House, which is a sequel to Green Glass House. It's a kid's book. Green Glass House, I talked about on the podcast a couple years ago. It is a place, it is an inn that is for smugglers. So people who smuggle items and thieves stay there. And the first book takes place at Christmas time, and the second place takes place at Christmas time a year later. And there's some like role play games in it. It's an interesting series. I really, really like it. But there's also a lot of self-identifying. Like, how do you identify as a person? And a little bit of mystery element to it too. So I really like the first one. I really should reread that before I'm reading this one. But I'm like 120 pages into the second one. I'm using it as my book talk book this week. So I have to be able to talk about a book that I haven't talked about before. So I'm using that one. Although my kids are giving me a lot of, we set reading goals for the year, and my reading goal is to be a more diverse reader when it comes to different genres, because I read a lot of fantasy, and this kind of falls into like fantasy mystery. I'm totally telling them it's a mystery because like all my books were fantasy and realistic fiction except for one biography and one nonfiction, so they're riding me to make sure that I'm fulfilling my goal to read a wide variety of different genres.
It's good they're engaged.
Yes. If you give a teenager something to nag at you about, And if you give 1,200 teenagers something to nag you about, then it's more than likely going to happen.
You want to hear something funny about my teenager? So we share an Audible account. Well, I just let him log into my Audible account because he likes to listen to books at night before he goes to bed. And we listen to a lot of the same books.
He likes fantasy. Yeah.
So a lot of the less romantic fantasy he likes. And so the other day...
And you usually converse about a book before he listens to it.
Although I'm not a huge fan of censoring what your kids read.
No,
but yes,
if he's usually, is this more romance?
He's usually like,
yes.
What's this book about?
Yeah.
So we were downstairs eating the other day, and he's like, he said, "Well, what time is it? I might be able to finish my audiobook tonight." And I said, "Well, which audiobook are you listening to?" It's a series with a lady named Kate Daniels, and I'm like, "You're reading in a lot of Andrews." I was like, "Is there a lion named Curran in there?" He's like, "Yeah, I like that dude." I was like, "Okay, there's gonna be romance in this, right?"
Yeah, but there's not sex till the last one.
Yeah, I think it's the fifth one or something. Yeah. And
he's got ways to
also,
go.
He's 14 and has access to the internet, so it's not like it'll be something new for him, but it just surprised me because it's definitely, romantic
it's paranormal fantasy. Yeah.
So, it just...
I don't know that it falls... I mean, it's paranormal. It's kind of romance, but really...
Yeah, it is only a percentage of it.
Yeah, I think the overall storyline reads more urban fantasy.
Yeah. But, I don't know, I just got such a kick out of that. I was like, Curran's one of my favorite of all time,
You should show him the Curran points of view on her blog. Gordon, the husband of the husband-wife team, rewrote a lot of sections from Curran's point of view from the first book. Anyway. See, I spend too much time on the internet, too. But what I look at and what Kobe looks like are probably much different things.
Most of his he's on
Steam games,
Twitch, where he watches other people play video games.
Yeah, that would make me twitch.
Yeah.
I have although
and apparently
most of my teen years I feel were spent watching other people play video games or Magic the Gathering.
The Amazon Prime membership that I've had forever comes with special Twitch things. And he was so excited when I told him that he gets early access to something and some sort of loot in a game or
that's amazing.
Something, I don't know, but
you're now the best mom ever.
By lieu of doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, well.
So, yeah, that's what we're reading and what my kid is listening to, for better or for worse. I wanted to talk about this Kickstarter. So we were approached by Caitlin and her husband. Oh gosh, what is his name?
They're adorable.
Christopher.
We're looking at a picture.
And
they have a corgi.
A corgi named Becca. So we were approached by Caitlin about a month ago, and she wrote to me about her vision and the company that they're starting.
They're doing a Fairmount Bag Company.
Fairmount Bag Company is their company, and they're looking to create really hard-wearing, useful knitting bags.
Knitting-friendly bags, yeah.
Right. That can be used as your everyday purse or
bag or
tote
whatever.
or what have you. So think along the lines of similar in some ways to Namaste or Jardin Page or that sort of thing, although I feel like the aesthetic is pretty different.
Yeah, these are wax canvas.
Yeah,
so I feel like the aesthetic is much different.
I brought mine up here just to show you what I've got in it. I've had mine for about a week, and it's a prototype, so there will be a couple of changes from what it is now to what the finished product will be, because she's taking information from her testers and bringing that into the fact.
Okay.
So it comes in several different colors, but for the most part the outer colors are neutral and the inner colors can be neutral or can be a fun pop of yellow or what have you. There are different colors.
The gray comes with yellow. I think there's a sample of the different colors
in the bottom. Once I get to it, I'll show you. So first of all, it comes with these big leather handles, and they're very deep. when you put your arm through it, it goes down to like my rib cage, the top of it. So it's plenty deep enough to carry on your shoulder.
So it has a messenger bag strap.
Yes, so it's got a strap, so you can make it a messenger bag, and a very wide strap too, so I feel like the weight's distributed pretty well. It is waxed canvas, so it will repel to some degree liquid stains. It's got an outer pocket, which I've got some bills.
I love outer pockets. It's where all my keys / phone go.
The only thing that I took out was my knitting bag, but aside from that, everything else is already in here. So I'll show you. My hat that I wear all the time. It's out of Bare Naked.
Hansen, yeah. I like how that's fuzzing.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Like a halo sort of over time. My wallet. My computer glasses, because I am an old lady that needs them. My bank bag, when I process checks and stuff for SSK, all of the supplies for getting it into the right bank accounts and all that are kept in here. And it's actually pretty thick because we have a stamp, because if I had to write numbers on every check, it would probably go to the wrong account.
I didn't realize you had a stamp.
Yeah, I've had that for years. Some
spreadsheets.
A spreadsheet on how much dental work I need. P.S. It's a lot. My laptop. I don't know if I'm supposed to put stickers on it, but
It's a work laptop.
Whatever.
I like the Labyrinth. You'll never lose yours.
Yeah. My iPad with the case. Oh, yep, here's the colors. Some sample colors with
So there's a gray with the yellow, and then this lighter yellow, tan strap. And then a green with a tan. The tan's the outside, the gray's the outside on here. I actually like the green with the gray, or the green with the brown, which is not my...
I really dig the yellow with the gray. I think that's
I did too, but that's not my favorite handle color.
That's true.
If it had that handle, I think I'd be all about that.
So those come in there as well.
I'm a handle queen, apparently. Well, they came in yours so that we could show people.
Right, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
They're not the norm. You don't get samples of other bags.
My laptop battery, which is giant. Gummy worms, because you never know. And some other miscellaneous papers. And so one of the features of this bag that definitely makes it a knitting bag is this cool flip out pattern holder.
Yeah.
So it's this hard clear, it's a hard like cardboard interior with clear pockets on both sides where you can put your pattern in here, and you can take it off.
It's accessible, yeah.
With these little clips, but you can sit down and flip it out and just have it sitting, right, and you can read your pattern without it having to be, you know, in your pattern bag, like in your knitting bag or whatever. It's somewhere where it's not going to get lost or smushed or moved or folded or whatever.
Have stuff spilled on it.
Yeah.
It's protected.
So I'm going to just show you what's on the inside.
There's some pockets.
They all come with these needle sizers and their little company name tag. They have a little clip inside, which you can either use as a yarn guide, or I actually put my keys in there so they don't go to the bottom of it.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
They have, this is actually a cool feature. So this little diagonal strap goes over the scissor pocket, and the scissor pocket is lined with like this hardcore like Teflon.
Oh.
Like, so you can't punch through it with your scissors.
But you can stick your scissors through there.
You put your scissors inside this little pocket, and then this folds down on top of the handle so that they don't fall out.
Awesome.
But it's also lined with this really heavy duty lining so that it doesn't create a hole in your bag. And then it's got a few interior pockets, a small zipper pocket, and then some like pocket for your phone, and then some pockets for needles.
All the pockets.
Yeah. And it sits flat. It does have a flat bottom on it. I think it's a really great bag. I mean, it feels much more heavy duty than a lot of the beauty bags.
And it's got magnets at the top that keep it closed.
Yes,
correct.
The closure.
Leslie's fine with an open bag. I am not.
Yeah, well, I don't work with a bunch of thieving kids, so
I don't call them that.
I do, and that's okay. So yes, it does have a magnetic closure.
You don't work in a workplace where you work from home 90% of the time.
Yes, and when I do go in, I work around adults that generally are too busy to steal things out of my bag. But yes, it does have a magnetic closure here at the top. There is no zipper closure. For, if you're worried about your yarn getting caught, that's a good thing. Some people do want a bag they can completely close, and that's totally fine, but that's not this bag. So,
I'm a closed bag person.
The reason that I'm showing you all this is because they are a new company, this Fairmount Bag Company, and they have a campaign on Kickstarter. Now, I told Caitlin and her and her husband Christopher that
we don't like Kickstarter as a whole.
Kickstarter we approach with reservations because Kickstarter is an application that gets exposure for new artists or creative people, and that's wonderful. But we have had campaigns that have been funded that we never get the rewards for.
Just because a campaign's funded, doesn't mean that you're going to get the things that you have paid for.
That's
those are considered perks and not purchases.
Right.
So,
and Kickstarter is just the means to get you in contact with this creative person. They're not held liable in any way if the $500 that you back, X new indie dyer disappears off the face of the earth. Yeah. So take that with a grain of salt. Now, that being said, I have had several, probably 3 or 4 Kickstarters that I've backed that I have got the product with no complaints. And either on time or they provide updates. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care if you're going to be late, just keep me in the loop with what's happening.
My sweatshirt was late, but they kept us constantly in the loop.
And that's fine. Things happen. Not a big deal.
And
just
we back to Ball Winder. That was perfect.
Tug.
Yeah, it was actually early.
Yes.
And they also kept us in the loop. I've backed Electric Eel Kickstarter, and they do weekly updates the whole time the process is going on. So it just depends on the people. And my sister did a Kickstarter. That's how she got her business started. Yeah. So it just depends on who you're backing.
Yeah. So with that being said, and us telling you that it is something that occasionally happens, and I'm not indicating in any way that that's what would happen in this case, but it is something that does happen. So we just wanted to talk to you about Caitlin and Christopher's bags and give you the opportunity to back them if you're interested. There is a link in our show notes, and I'll put a link in the Ravelry thread as well. Their goal is to get $50,000 so that they can meet the minimums for the production companies and make adjustments to the design. And they're trying to source everything in the U.S. and so they have some very clear and specific goals, and they're all laid out.
And I think that's what works well with Kickstarter.
Yes.
People who have clear, specific goals that have it planned out. It's like any business plan.
Yeah, and you can read all about what their goals are and their timelines and everything on their Kickstarter page. So if it's something that you're interested in, take a look. I will probably talk about this one more time closer to the end of the month after I've used this for a little bit longer, just to be able to give you more usability feedback. But so far I like it. I like having a really deep handle, and I like that I can use it crossbody. Yeah. So, I'm excited. And I know that there are different tiers of support, and if you get there early, you can get it for $25 less or something. I don't know. It's all on the Kickstarter page, and we get no percentage of this. But I think it's a cool bag. Yeah. And if it's your aesthetic, look into it.
I feel like there's a hole in the bag, like the larger purse type bag industries right now for knitters. There's Tom Ben. But Jordana Page, I don't think is manufacturing anymore. Namaste definitely is not.
Yeah, and I think that aesthetically, this is a totally different product than what your Jordana Page or your Namaste's put out there.
Or Tom Ben, yeah.
Tom Ben is a little more utilitarian. And this is a little closer to that probably than it is to the other two, but take a look. If it's something you're interested in and you're willing to back it, then awesome. And like I said, I'll probably talk about it one more time before the end of the month. So that was Fairmount Bag Company, and I'll put that in Ravelry and the show notes.
Very cool. We have we need to pull for self-striping giveaway. So we had a bunch of people join us not join us because we both failed, but they went and did awesome.
I never started, so does that mean I failed?
Well, yes. There was some awesome self-striping FOs in January. There were, I want to say, like
30,
over 30. Yeah,
I think 38 or 37 because the first was an intro thread. So I think we said for every 50, we're going to give out a prize. Mm-hmm. And so what the prize is, that's not what we're talking about next, right?
No, the prize for this month was a pattern of your choice up to $10 from Ravelry. Needs to be a Ravelry downloadable and giftable pattern.
Okay.
So you'll just let us know what pattern you want when you win.
I am just going to see if this will let me pull the Ravelry page so people can... Oh, yay!
Yay! And there is some gorgeous...
Okay.
There is some Bundle Up Betty's. So this is not just for socks. It's for any self-striping FO.
The only rule was that you need to use at least half
50%.
Of
and
the
people
skein.
who didn't use 50% then did like additional squares or other little things.
This is Caitlin.
Aww.
And Christopher. And their Corky Becca. Alright, so we're going to just go to random.org. And it's between 2 and 38. Let me double check that number. Yep, 38. So this way you guys can see. 2 and 30. 38. Generate. 28. So let's take a look to see who number 28 is. Is
it's someone who won yarn as a door prize at SSK.
This is Vesper Yarn Sesame
That's
Cha-Cha. Sheila O'Keefe. Won as a door prize at SSK 2016. So Sheila,
if you'll contact me,
contact Laura on Ravelry.
I will gift you a pattern up to $10. So just let me know what you're looking for.
Just let her know what you choose.
And this coming month, I haven't started the FO thread yet because it's the 5th, and I'm sure someone's already done with their socks, so I need to get on it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have a prize from Jelby. Okay. So I will be talking more about that. She's gonna get me some pictures because it's gonna be sent directly. You're gonna work with her. She's come up with this really cool new way of tagging. Oh, I was saving this for later. Way of tagging needles and needle tips.
Yeah.
So we're purchasing the winner. Like, again, every 50 we'll purchase a set of, they come in like 5 sets of 5 markers. And there's some additional options for people who are interested in, but we're going to purchase the 5. So that will be our prize for this coming month.
And what is this a prize for?
This is a prize just for being
a giveaway.
Awesome.
Okay.
So we were contacted by Mint Rain Yarns. And she was actually a person that was for the knit along last month. Yep. But she sent us some yarn to give away to y'all. She also sent us some yarn to knit with, which I cannot wait to knit with.
Mine's Harry Potter themed. So this one is self-striping, and it is called Wanderer. So it's got some purples and teal and yellow and white and kind of a taupe color in a couple of places. So this is Wanderer, and we're going to do a giveaway. And should I just pick from my list of prompts? Okay.
Right, you just pick from your list of prompts.
Because we've still got some really great prompts that people suggested from a couple of years ago. So I'll go through and pick from the list of prompts. And we will pull next week before we end the show. Yep. So on episode 381, we'll pull. So thank you, Mint Rain. I got a house cup. What did you get?
I got an Outlander colorway.
Oh, okay.
It's sitting to be wound at my house, but
I kind of...
I'm not that... I've lost my sock mojo this year.
I want to knit... there's a designer, Josh Ricks, who I know is in Minnesota, and he goes to the zombie thing. Zombie Apocalypse. Yeah. But he designs with self-striping for shawls. Yes. So there's some really cool options out there, and I got a couple in my queue.
I saw one of them at Florida when I went... what is her name? She does the scientific-based colorways.
Oh, String Theory.
String Theory
Yeah.
had just knit a shawl out of his
Yeah.
stuff.
And he's got some that are just self-striping and some that are paired with solids in really cool ways. So that's one of the things I want to knit this year is one of his patterns. So I'll have to take a look and figure out. I think I've got Typhoon. I think that's one of the ones I've got queued.
Cool.
Anyway. But yeah, I think that's kind of the cool thing about our self-striping is you can knit whatever you want. Just use at least half the skein.
Yeah.
And voila, you're in.
Done.
So
yeah, there was some cute bundle up Betty dresses that people were
I
doing.
love those.
They're
I've
very
never
cute.
seen these bundle up Bettys before, but they're super cute.
Yeah, it's Andrea Sue, and she's got a boy too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're
I think you can get them with different colored finishes too.
Oh, I just saw a few in our thing, and it
I
was really
want
cute.
I want to buy one for each of the nieces and knit for it, but I don't know. I don't know if they like it or not. I think so.
Might be a cool Christmas
So.
present.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Before they get too old for dolls, because that's gonna happen soon.
yeah.
That makes me kind of sad. I got a new phone, and like for some reason all these old pictures like dumped to it from like phones from like 4 phones ago, like when I had my first iPhone, like an iPhone 2 or whatever, like got dumped to it, and there are some baby niece pictures, like hold on, now I have to show you, like baby niece pictures, like crazy baby niece pictures. Let me go all the way to the top.
Yeah, she had a couple of Kobe when he was really little.
Okay, here's one of Kobe.
Oh, reading in the car. Yeah, well, he was still in a
Sonic.
car seat.
Yeah, and he would, that's the Focus. That's how old that is. And he would get chicken tenders all over the backseat of my Focus.
That sounds
all
like him.
the time.
Aww.
When Alice was born.
Alice is the younger one who's your
She's
godchild.
5.
Mm-hmm.
Julia, when Alice was born.
Oh, yeah.
That was a couple houses ago. No, 1 house ago. Like, Opa holding Alice for the first time. Say, like, I don't know where, I mean, this is from 2011. So it's been a piece.
Yeah.
So, yeah. When I knit the Rebecca Danger birds.
Oh, the little bun nuggets.
Yeah. Well, that's the bird.
Oh, is it?
But yeah.
I can't tell because most of it's in her mouth.
Love it. Nick.
Mm.
Becca's little one.
Who's
our
what,
friend
5
Wolfbergy.
now?
He's 6.
6.
He's the same age as Alice. Us at Maryland Sheep and Wool.
Oh, yeah. That was about
Like all these crazy old pictures.
40 pounds ago.
2012.
Okay.
Anyway.
Now that we're done reminiscing.
There's another one of your kiddo
Yep.
reading in my house.
I love pictures of kids reading. It makes me happy.
I do too.
So, all right. Well, you guys have a lovely week. I'll get this episode up either later tonight or Tuesday morning because I'm working from home tomorrow. And you guys have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.